How far would you go to unlock a repressed memory?
Hmm.
And I don't mean just, staring at an old dusty photograph, hoping something sparks, or maybe driving past your childhood home to see if you get a weird vibe. I'm talking about the absolute extremes.
The real terrifying edge of things.
Exactly. Would you undergo deep hypnosis? Would you track down family members who haven't spoken to you in 20 years, who might, I don't know, who might actually want you dead?
And what if? What if the only way to remember the truth, this terrible thing you've buried, was to die?
And we're not speaking metaphorically here.
No, not at all. We aren't talking about ego death
Mm.
or some kind of transformative spiritual experience. We are talking about the clinical definition of death: heart stopped,
Mm.
breath gone, brain activity just flatlining.
And then being ripped back to life violently over and over again. Welcome to the deep dive.
Today, we have a stack of sources that are, frankly, going to make your chest tight and your palms sweat.
Oh, for sure. We are diving deep into the high concept, absolutely gripping thriller Dead in the Water by John Mars. And this is not just a mystery, it's a medical nightmare wrapped inside a psychological character study.
It really is.
Yeah.
This book sits at a very uncomfortable intersection. It's one part medical drama, one part serial killer investigation, and one part just a raw exploration of trauma.
Right.
It forces us to ask questions about memory and identity that, most of us spend our whole lives actively avoiding. It poses the question, is your past set in stone, or is it a trap waiting to spring?
A trap. That's a good way to put it. Our mission today is to track the descent, and it really is a descent of the protagonist, Damon Lister.
Hmm.
We need to understand his absolute obsession with death, his incredibly messy, complicated relationship with his paramedic ex-wife, and the horrific family secrets that get unlocked when he decides to stop breathing.
But before we get to the horror, we have to understand the man.
We have to. Who is Damon before the water takes him?
That is the crucial starting point, isn't it? If you don't get Damon, the rest of the horror just doesn't land.
It feels empty.
Exactly. Damon is 28 years old, and the sources describe him as a man who is fundamentally stuck. He works in a supermarket, stacking shelves, watching the clock, living a life that feels like it's on a loop.
He feels cemented in a rut.
Completely. But the defining feature of his life isn't his job. It's his inability to let go of the past. Specifically, his ex-wife, Melissa.
This relationship dynamic is fascinating to me because it's so modern and yet so incredibly painful.
It's a mess.
A total mess. They've been divorced for years. Melissa has moved on. She's a paramedic. She's capable. She's in a serious relationship with a woman named Adrienne.
And Damon is still just hovering in the background.
He's like a ghost in his own life, watching her live hers.
Hovering is putting it lightly. They are entangled in this very, very complex co-parenting arrangement, even though there is no child yet.
And that's the key detail, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Melissa and Adrienne are trying to conceive via IVF, and they're using Damon's sperm.
Which puts Damon in this bizarre limbo. I mean, think about that dynamic. He's the ex-husband, but he's also the potential biological father of the child his ex-wife is building a new life with.
He's clinging to this role, and the text really suggests he's secretly hoping it's a tether, a way to pull them back together.
Of course.
Meanwhile, Melissa, she just views it as a pragmatic solution. He's a known quantity, a friend, a donor. It's clinical for her.
But not for him.
Not at all. It creates this undercurrent of tension in every single interaction they have. To keep things friendly, or maybe just to mask the awkwardness of this whole sperm donor ex-husband situation, they have this tradition.
The year of challenges.
The year of challenges.
Yeah.
The concept is simple. Once a month, they force each other out of their comfort zones. It's supposed to be fun, a way to keep their friendship dynamic.
Right, like, I'll go rock climbing if you try pottery, that kind of thing.
Exactly. Lighthearted. A bit of fun.
Yeah, until they get to February. February is Melissa's pick. And because she knows Damon better than anyone, maybe better than he knows himself, she knows his deepest fear.
He's terrified of open water.
Terrified. He hates swimming where he can't touch the bottom. He hates the cold, the dark, not knowing what's underneath him. So naturally, she challenges him to swim to a buoy in the sea off Brighton Beach.
In February,
Yeah.
in the UK, we're talking about water temperatures that can literally induce cold water shock in seconds. This isn't a casual dip.
No, the scene is set with this perfect mix of humor and just creeping dread. Damon is standing on the freezing beach, and he's wearing these comically large orange and white shorts.
He actually describes himself as looking like a traffic cone.
A traffic cone. He is absolutely dreading it, shivering before he even touches the water. But he can't say no to her. He wants to be the hero she needs, or at least the friend she thinks he is.
And Melissa, she's a former competitive swimmer, so she's totally confident. She thinks this is just a cold dip, a bit of an adrenaline rush, no big deal.
They get out there, and the cold is. It's that shock to the system type of pain. It feels like burning.
But they do it. They reach the buoys, they high-five, they turn to head back. But that is when the sea reminds them that it doesn't care about their little game.
A rip current takes hold. This is a terrifying phenomenon if you've never experienced it.
It's silent, and it's powerful. It's a channel of water moving away from the shore faster than an Olympic swimmer can swim.
And Melissa has lifeguard training. She knows the protocol is to swim parallel to the shore to escape the narrow channel. But Damon panics.
And panic is the absolute enemy in the water. He fights the current directly, which exhausts him instantly. The cold water fills his lungs.
The sources describe this visceral burning sensation followed by the heavy pulling weight of his own clothes dragging him down. And then he goes under.
This is the pivotal moment. This is where everything just pivots. We have to talk about what happens when Damon drowns.
Because he does drown. This isn't a near drowning. He dies.
Clinically, yes. He stops fighting. He describes the transition from agony to a strange, heavy peace.
That sensation is actually quite common in near-death reports. It's hypoxia, lack of oxygen to the brain. The brain floods with neurochemicals to ease the passing.
But for Damon, this biological process triggers something else. The life review.
The cinematic flashback. The cliche that your life flashes before your eyes. And it happens. He sees a carousel of images, toys he played with as a kid, friends he lost touch with, the mundane and the magical moments of his 28 years.
It's comforting in a way, a gentle slide into nothingness.
Until he sees the anomaly. In the middle of this stream of genuine memories, there is a glitch in the system.
He sees a boy he does not recognize.
The red-haired boy. We'll come to know him as Callum, but right now he's just a stranger in Damon's dying mind. Damon sees this boy lying on a path.
And he's bleeding from the mouth and ears.
And in this vision or memory or whatever it is, Damon is reaching out to him.
And the emotion attached to this image isn't confusion. It isn't fear. It's guilt.
Deep, searing guilt.
In that split second before his brain shuts down completely, Damon feels responsible. He feels like he killed this boy.
And then nothing. Until Melissa finds him, it's a heroic rescue. She dives repeatedly, finding him in the murk, drags his dead weight to shore, and performs CPR. She brings him back from the dead.
And the first thing Damon says when he coughs up the seawater isn't, "Thank you." It isn't, "I love you."
No, he gasps out a question about the boy I think I killed.
And that is the hook that sinks into his psyche. Physically, he survived the drowning. But psychologically, he never really leaves that water.
That moment of guilt becomes the defining aspect of his reality.
Which leads us into the aftermath, and things get dark very, very quickly.
This is the second part of our dive, the haunting. Damon is back on dry land, but he is broken. He has physical after effects, ear infections, fluid in the lungs, the shakes. But the mental toll is what destroys him.
He starts hallucinating.
And these aren't just vague shadows in the corner of his eye.
No, these are vivid. He sees the dead boy, Callum, everywhere. In the supermarket aisles while he's stacking beans. In his bathroom mirror while he's brushing his teeth.
The imagery John Mars uses here is just pure horror. The boy often appears with a gaping black hole for a mouth.
Imagine that visual. A child screaming at you, but the mouth is just a void.
No sound comes out, or sometimes it's just this unintelligible noise.
Damon becomes convinced this isn't just PTSD or a firing synapse. He believes it is a repressed memory bubbling to the surface.
He thinks he is a murderer who has simply forgotten his crime.
So he tries to investigate rationally at first. He scours Google. He tries to, trigger the memory with scents or sounds, trying to force his brain to unlock that door.
But the memory is locked behind a door that he believes only opens at the threshold of death.
He theorizes that the life review is the key. It's like a corrupted file on a computer that only plays when the system crashes.
So if he can trigger that review again, he can see the rest of the memory. He needs to see what happened to that boy.
And he comes to a terrifying conclusion.
He needs to die again.
This is where the desperation really takes over. He actually asks Melissa to help him.
Just kill me a little bit, essentially.
I mean, it's an insane request. She's a paramedic. Her entire ethos is saving lives. Her whole job is pulling people back from where he wants to go.
So obviously she refuses. She thinks he's lost his mind.
And maybe he has. So Damon turns to the place where bad ideas go to thrive. The internet.
The dark web, specifically. He finds a forum dedicated to people obsessed with the threshold of death, with near-death experiences.
And he connects with a user who goes by the handle The Good Samaritan.
Her name is Laura, or, well, that's the name she gives.
This sequence is so chilling because it completely subverts what you, as the listener, expect. You expect a compassionate, perhaps misguided figure who helps people with assisted suicide.
Right. Damon thinks he's hired a guide, someone who will help him hang himself just long enough to trigger the vision and then cut him down.
He invites her to his flat. It's all very methodical. He's bought a defibrillator, which is not cheap, by the way.
Not all.
He set up the rope. Laura arrives, and she seems calm, professional even. She ties the knot. She explains the physiology of what's about to happen. She's got the whole routine down.
But then the mask slips. As soon as Damon is hanging there, choking, his vision fading, he looks at Laura.
And she isn't holding a knife to cut him down?
No, she kicks the defibrillator away.
She kicks it away, just casually removes his only safety net, and then she pulls out her phone.
She's filming him. Laura isn't a good Samaritan. She is a grief tourist.
A predator.
Yeah.
She gets a thrill from watching the light go out of people's eyes. She doesn't want to help him find a memory. She wants him dead for real, for her own entertainment.
The betrayal is just visceral. Damon is helpless, bound, and dying for a second time. He's seeing the boy again. The hallucination is mocking him. He's fading out.
And just as he thinks, this is it, I've made a terrible, terrible mistake, the door bursts open.
It's Melissa. She had a bad feeling. She came to check on him. She saves him again.
And it's not pretty. She cuts him down, starts CPR, uses the defibrillator. It's chaotic and violent. Nothing like in the movies where people just cough and sit up.
No, it's brutal. But she brings him back.
Now, aside from the trauma of almost being murdered by a stranger, this second death, the second life review, it yields results.
It does. In that second review, Damon saw something new. He didn't just see the boy.
He saw his mother.
His mother, Bobby, she died when he was 12, and Damon has always lived with the story that she committed suicide by jumping from a window.
But seeing her in this death state changes the texture of his obsession. Now he has two mysteries to solve. The boy with the red hair and his mother.
This brings us to the escalation in the next section. Damon is now seeing his mother alongside the boy in these waking hallucinations. He is unraveling.
Completely. And he decides that the Laura experiment failed because it was uncontrolled. He needs a professional.
He needs Melissa.
And this is where the story takes a turn that makes you question Damon's morality entirely.
Oh, absolutely.
He knows Melissa won't do it. She's refused before. She's horrified by the idea. So he blackmails her.
It is a brutal, brutal move. He tells her, if you don't help me die and bring me back, I will withdraw my consent for the IVF sperm donation.
I mean, think about the cruelty of that leverage.
It's emotional terrorism.
It is. He is holding Melissa and Adrian's dream of a family hostage. He knows that finding another donor, starting the hormonal process over, it would be emotionally and financially devastating for them. He weaponizes his biological contribution.
It just shows you how far gone he is. His obsession now completely outweighs his love for her, or any sense of decency.
And it puts Melissa in this impossible ethical bind. She's angry, she's disgusted by him, but she is so desperate for this baby.
And you have to think, deeper down, despite everything, she still cares for him.
Of course. She probably rationalizes it as, if he's going to do this anyway, better he does it with me than with another psycho like Laura.
It's harm reduction in a twisted way.
A very twisted way. So she agrees. But she treats it like a medical procedure. She brings the gear from work, the monitors, the drugs.
And there is one detail here that really stuck with me. She brings an intraosseous drill.
The IO drill.
For those listening who aren't medical professionals, you have to explain what that is, because it sounds like something from a construction site.
It effectively is. It is intense. In emergency medicine, if a patient is in shock or their heart is stopped, their veins collapse. You can't get a needle in to deliver life-saving drugs like adrenaline.
Right, they're just gone.
So you use an IO driver, which is basically a medical-grade drill, to go directly into the bone, usually the tibia and the lower leg, to inject drugs straight into the marrow.
You drill into a person's skeleton.
You do. It's incredibly rapid, but it's violent medicine. The fact that she brings it shows you how seriously she's taking this. She knows how hard it might be to bring him back.
So they set this all up in the bathtub with ice water to slow his metabolism. Damon records a video on his phone, absolving Melissa of all blame just in case he doesn't wake up.
And then she drowns him.
For 16 minutes.
He is dead for 16 minutes. I mean, that is a massive amount of time to be without a heartbeat. The risk of permanent brain damage is astronomical.
And the resuscitation scene is hard to read. It's not a gentle awakening. She cracks his ribs doing chest compressions.
She has to use a drill on his leg.
He's vomiting water. He's in agony. His chest is crushed. But he has what he came for.
He retrieved a name.
Callum Baird.
And he saw more. He saw his mother, Bobby, leading Callum and a baby away into the darkness.
A baby. A third victim. So now he has a name. This moves us from the medical horror into the investigation part of our dive.
Right. Damon researches Callum Baird. And it turns out he was a real person.
A real boy, murdered years ago. This validates everything Damon has been feeling.
It's the proof he needed. It proves these aren't just random firings of a dying brain. They are memories of actual events. He isn't crazy, or at least not in the way he thought.
Damon tracks down the location of the murder. He visits the flats where Callum lived, which, it turns out, is where Damon lived too as a child. A fact he had completely blocked out.
Repressed memory is a powerful defense mechanism. Being back there, though, it triggers flashes of recognition. The smells, the architecture, it all starts coming back.
But the reception he gets from the locals is, well, it's hostile.
Very hostile.
Yeah.
He runs into an elderly neighbor. And this guy recognizes Damon instantly. He doesn't say, "Oh, nice to see you after all these years."
No, he yells at him. He says, "Bad apples never fall far from trees."
Oof. That phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting.
A ton. It implies that Damon comes from rotten stock. It foreshadows that the evil isn't just something Damon witnessed, it's something he is related to.
It suggests the community remembers his family not as victims, but as perpetrators.
And while he's there, standing in this place from his forgotten past, the memory of his mother's death finally unlocks. And it is not the suicide he was told about.
No. He remembers smoke. He remembers fire. He realizes that his mother didn't just jump out of a window to end her life. She was trapped.
The flat was on fire. She smashed the window and jumped either to escape the flames or to signal for help. It was an act of desperation, not despair.
It reframes his entire childhood trauma. She didn't abandon him. She was a victim.
And in his hallucinations now, he sees her as she was in death, covered in burns, skin peeling, smoking. It's horrific imagery, but it connects him to her in a new way. He realizes the story of his life is a complete lie.
But the question remains, who started the fire? And who killed Callum Baird?
This brings us to the next section, the serial killer connection. Damon, desperate for answers, requests his social services records.
He gets this thick envelope, opens it up, and it's just pages of black lines, redactions everywhere.
Which just screams cover-up or protection. You don't redact the file of a normal foster kid like that.
But there are a few key phrases that slip through the censor's pen. He was considered unsuitable for placement with regular families. There are mentions of danger.
He needs answers. So he goes to the one person who's been a constant in his life. Helena, his former foster mother.
Helena is a tragic figure in her own right, dealing with health issues, living with this burden. And when Damon pushes her, really corners her, she finally reveals the truth about his father.
Ralph Lister.
Ralph Lister. Damon grew up thinking his dad died in an accident. Helena drops the bomb. Ralph is alive, and he is a convicted killer.
And not just any killer. He is the man who killed a young girl named Daisy Barber. And he was the prime suspect in the murder of Callum Baird.
Suddenly, all the hallucinations make perfect, terrifying sense.
The boy with the black hole mouth, that's Callum, his father's victim. The disfigured girl he started seeing in his visions, that's Daisy Barber.
They aren't haunting him because he killed them. They are haunting him because his father did. Damon is the conduit for their pain.
And the hallucinations keep saying this one word, oodis.
Oodis. It's this recurring auditory motif.
It sounds like nonsense, but in a mystery like this, nothing is nonsense. We'll put a pin in that for a moment, but keep it in mind.
The devastating realization for Damon here is genetic. He looks in the mirror and sees his father's face staring back. He starts to wonder, is the violence in my blood? Am I destined for this?
And that fear isn't unfounded. Because as we move deeper into the story, into the next part of our dive, Damon descends into violence himself.
He's become paranoid. He feels like he's being followed.
And he is. There's a mysterious man who threatened him earlier on a car park roof, telling him to finish what he started. The threat is very real.
This man attacks Damon in the car park under the old flats. It's a life-or-death struggle. And Damon, he doesn't just defend himself. He snaps.
He fights back with a ferocity that surprises even him. It's not just self-defense, it's pure rage. He reverses his car and he crushes the man against a concrete pillar, runs him over to make sure he's dead.
It's a shocking moment of violence. But what happens next is even darker, I think.
I agree. Damon doesn't call the police. He doesn't call Melissa. He cleans up.
He drags the body to the communal bin store. I want you to picture this. He empties a massive dumpster, climbs inside with the corpse, and buries the man under other people's trash bags.
That image, Damon hiding in a bin with a fresh corpse, covered in other people's filth, the smell of rotting food and blood, that's the nadir of his journey.
He has crossed a line. He's actively wondering, am I turning into my father? The neighbor said bad apples don't fall far from trees. Maybe he was right. Maybe the biology is inescapable.
So now, Damon is a killer. Justified or not, he's taken a life and hidden the body. And this propels him to the final confrontation. He needs to find Ralph.
He uses a ruse, pretending to be a victim's relative, to get information, and he tracks him down.
Ralph is out of prison on license, working at a DIY store in Basingstoke. It's so mundane, so suburban.
This monster, this source of all his nightmares, is just stacking shelves.
Just like Damon does.
The parallel is just undeniable. It's chilling. Damon watches him from the end of the aisle. He sees the physical similarities, the hairline, the build, the dimples when he smiles at a customer. He is looking at his future self or his past self, or both.
The climax happens in the paint aisle. Damon is just overwhelmed by rage, by the injustice of it all, by the genetic curse he feels he carries.
He picks up a 5-liter can of white paint.
And he hurls it.
It explodes everywhere. It's a chaotic, messy, violent gesture. It's not a gun or a knife, it's paint. It feels almost childish, but the intent is lethal.
Ralph turns around, covered in white paint, and this is the moment. They lock eyes across the aisle.
And in that look, there is recognition. Ralph realizes who Damon is, and Damon realizes that he is a reflection of this killer. The paint covers everything, whitewashing the scene, but the truth is stark. They're the same.
The source material leaves us right there, in that moment of confrontation. It is an insane journey from a swimming challenge to a serial killer hunt via repeated suicides.
It really is.
Yeah.
And if we look at the themes here, it's all about the toxicity of secrets, isn't it?
Absolutely. Helena kept the truth from Damon to protect him, but that secrecy ultimately put him in more danger. It drove him to these insane extremes.
And the nature versus nurture debate is just front and center. Damon is terrified that his DNA dictates his destiny.
But his actions, blackmailing Melissa, killing the attacker, they suggest that maybe the darkness is there, regardless of how he was raised by Helena.
But you could also argue that his actions are a result of his trauma, not his genes. He was pushed to the absolute brink. It's the situation, not the blood, that made him snap.
That's true. It's so complex. So what does this all mean for us? Why does this story stick with you?
I think it's because it plays on that universal fear. What if my life is a lie? What if the memories I have are wrong? And how far would I actually go to find the truth?
It brings us to a final provocative thought for you listening. If you found out your entire past was a lie designed to protect you from a horrific truth, that your father was a monster, that your mother's death was a tragedy, not a choice, would you want to know? Or is ignorance truly bliss?
In Damon's case, the truth might have set him free, but it also completely destroyed him.
A heavy thought to leave you with. Thanks for listening to this deep dive into Dead in the Water. Catch you on the next deep dive.